Welcome to The Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet following the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBT community. This week in the headlines, a judge in Florida rules in favor of a pro-LGBT bakery. The Justice Department sends a subtle signal of retreat regarding transgender protections. Lawmakers in Tennessee think they can just ignore the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage. Transgender actress Laverne Cox is set to debut her new legal drama, Doubt, next week on CBS. And we have new music from uber-talented out-singer-songwriter Eli Lieb. This is The Randy Report. First up this week, good news for the Orlando, Florida mother-daughter bakery Cut the Cake. An administrative law judge ruled that they did not discriminate against a potential customer when they refused to make or create a cake with an anti-LGBT slogan. The Orlando Weekly reports that administrative law judge J. Bruce Culpepper's recommended order in favor of Cut the Cake comes nearly 2 years after the Central Florida bakery was targeted by an anti-gay activist for refusing to make a cake with an anti-gay marriage message, "Homosexuality is an abomination unto the Lord." In the administrative challenge, potential customer Robert Manarino accused Cut the Cake of religious discrimination when the owners refused to make that cake with that phrase. Manarino turned to the administrative court after the Florida Commission on Human Relations last summer told him that the commission did not have jurisdiction to consider his complaint because the bakery was not a place of public accommodation, which means anti-discrimination policies would not apply. The bakery owners testified that they are Christians and frequently make cakes with religious themes and biblical inscriptions, but they ignored Manarino's request because of the hateful message he wanted on the cake. The administrative law judge agreed with the commission that the bakery is not a place of public accommodation because, unlike restaurants or cafeterias, Cut the Cake is not a facility principally engaged in selling food for consumption on site. In addition, the judge also rejected Manarino's allegation that the bakery owners had discriminated against him. Quote, "Petitioner did not offer evidence or elicit testimony that Cut the Cake refused to provide him a baked good specifically because he was a Christian." End quote. Culpepper recommended that the Commission on Human Relations issue a final order finding that Cut the Cake is not a place of public accommodation, or, alternatively, find that the bakery did not discriminate against Manarino. A win for the good guys, folks! During the presidential campaign, Donald Trump initially suggested he supported transgender rights. That information comes from an answer he gave in reference to the hateful anti-LGBT law HB 2 in North Carolina. But later he retreated, saying it should be left to the states. Now, just 2 days after Jeff Sessions became Attorney General, the Trump administration is signaling a step back from support for trans protections in a current lawsuit in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. The federal government filed a notice in the lawsuit Texas and other states had brought against the Obama administration's pro-transgender policies. The move suggests the new administration is pulling back from transgender rights while it determines what position it will be taking in the case. The Justice Department announced in the short filing that it was withdrawing its request that the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit Court limit a lower court's nationwide injunction of the pro-transgender policies to instead cover only those states that had brought the litigation. Then, in a joint request with the states challenging the policy, the states and the Justice Department both requested that the oral arguments on that issue be removed from the court's calendar. It may seem like a small thing, just to change their opinion on the scope of an injunction, but it could signal them mulling over where they stand on the issue of transgender rights. We'll have to stay tuned. In Tennessee, anti-LGBT lawmakers have filed legislation that would instruct state agencies to defy the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage. Titled the Tennessee Natural Marriage Defense Act, filed by State Senator May Beavers in the Senate and State Rep. Mark Pody in the House, The bills define marriage as between one man and one woman in Tennessee, regardless what other courts decide. We don't know much more about it at this time, although both legislators have said they will hold a press conference next week. They argued that despite the Obergefell ruling at the Supreme Court in June 2015, same-sex marriage is unlawful, and all unlawful orders, quote, remain unlawful and should be resisted, end quote. A vote on the Tennessee Natural Marriage Defense Act, clearly destined to fail, folks, has not been scheduled. In LGBT entertainment news, don't miss the premiere of Doubt next week, a new legal drama on CBS. The new series will star transgender actress Laverne Cox, portraying a transgender series regular on a broadcast TV show, a first in television history. Variety reports that in the upcoming legal drama, Cox plays Cameron Worth, a trans Ivy League-educated lawyer. During a Television Critics Association panel last August, the creators shared that the show's Case of the Week storylines will touch on violence and hate crimes against transgender people, along with rapes on college campuses. The creators also announced that a love interest for Cox's character will be introduced in the first season. Cox told the TCA, "What's so excited about Cameron for me and for being on CBS is that I'm an avid TV watcher, and growing up I didn't see people like me on TV. That piece is really wonderful. That folks can have someone like Cameron who is Ivy League educated. It's wonderful to get to play a character and to be a black transgender woman in that position on CBS. It's really special." Catch the premiere next Wednesday, February 15th at 10 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Uber-talented out singer-songwriter Eli Lieb released his latest single, Castles, this week. Sharing the track on YouTube, Eli wrote, "Lately, I have been very inspired to write songs that will help people feel empowered. Right now, there are so many of us that feel broken down and lost, and I hope this song helps people feel like they can build up their strength again, never lose hope, and take the hard times and use them as a tool to build your own castle." As many of you know, Eli's single, Young Love, released in July 2013, was hailed by music blog Idolator as, quote, an instantly catchy, uplifting pop rock anthem that sounds like a cross between Katy Perry and Bruce Springsteen, end quote. In 2014, Lieb released Safe in My Hands in conjunction with Allstate Insurance's Out Holding Hands campaign, where it was featured in a short animated film for the same campaign. Safe in My Hands was also featured in the Season 2 summer finale of ABC Family's The Fosters. Subsequent singles like Lightning in a Bottle and Zeppelin are permanent fixtures on my playlist, and I've featured his music many times on The Randy Report. Although Eli has been sharing cover songs on his YouTube channel of late, in announcing this new track on his Facebook page, he promises that Castles is just a taste of more original music to come this year. Good news for music fans. And with that, I'll close this episode of The Randy Report. Remember, you can subscribe to this podcast either on Blog Talk Radio or on iTunes for free, and that way you'll never miss an episode. So subscribe now. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBT community. Thanks for listening, folks, and here's Eli Lieb's Castles. See you next week.
You're smashing your mirrors and out of love, turning your dreams to gravel. But let the broken stones build your castles. They can break us down again, and we will build our castles. 'Cause we're all reigning queens and kings, and we will build our castles. When the sky's going grey and the cuts are deep, and a warm-hearted friend is all you need. and he will